Where do I start? It's overwhelming. And it feels like when you bring the kids in, it's going to slow everything down and be stressful and frustrating. And I don't want that. And and everyone tends to think that way, but it's actually the opposite once you get in there. And once you just jump into it and say, let's just get in here, there is a slower process at first when you're trying to figure it out and making that switch to away from processed foods into cooking real foods. There is a longer time frame that you have to just embrace that this is just part of. But once you get into it and then you start seeing the benefits so quickly and immediately, that the benefits motivate you to keep going that extra distance. And then it just becomes that part of your day. So I would just encourage anybody who feels hesitant, like it's overwhelming, it's too hard, I'm not sure where to start. Starting with the cooking class is the great place to start because it breaks it down into easy, bite-sized lessons that you can do one at a time and work your way towards it seamlessly and effortlessly, so that when you get there, you have a plan and the work's already built in for you. You know what to do, what's the next step. What's so great about your class is the terminology and the vocabulary that you give the kids to use has been so beneficial and helpful for them. They have that vocabulary that they can use now when they're little, before they can understand, because they understand the sizes, but they didn't have the vocabulary to go with it. Now they can use that when they're cooking. And so with the measuring, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old daughter, they know, they call it dad, mom, kid, and baby. And that's how they use the measuring spoons and the measuring cups. And they've even added on their own, when we use the 1/8 teaspoon, they've added that as the newborn baby. I actually prefer doing it on the weekends just because we can kind of make it more of a relaxed thing and not feel like we have the next thing to get to. You gave the tip of always schedule it before a already planned lunch or dinner. So we do that. We just either pick a lunch or dinner depending on what the class is on and make that will be our meal for that day. And the kids know that, so they know you're in charge of the meal today. So it's been easy to implement because your classes are so easy to do. Because I have 2 kids in beginner and 2 kids in intermediate. And and the videos are short enough. We can watch all 3 videos back to back, and it's not as, they're the perfect length. And then we get into the kitchen all together. And the other tip you gave that's been so helpful is, and I never thought of this, is having the younger kids who are shorter work at the kitchen table and the bigger kids use the kitchen island. And I never thought of incorporating the kitchen table as part of the cooking location. And that's been helpful because it gives us the space that we can kind of spread out. And so they go to the beginner kids go to the kitchen table and they do their skill, and the bigger kids are at the kitchen island, and we can all work at the same time, but we can be a little bit more spread out so they have their space to work. And that little tidbit has been so helpful. So from start to finish of watching the videos, all 3 of them that we watch, and then getting in the kitchen and making the food, it is about an hour, but we just plan it an hour before we're going to eat. And then when we're done, bring the kids in there. And it is so well worth the effort. Watching your kids, their palate change, our kids' taste buds and their palate have completely altered and changed in so many positive ways. Our kids, they prefer fresh fruits and vegetables over processed foods. They eat soups and salads and salmon and they eat so many foods that I never touched as a kid. And they eat them on a regular daily and weekly basis, and they enjoy it.